All right, everyone, I had to bump this story twice, so it's a little bit dated, but we still have to talk about it. It's like, how do you know that the legacy media is corrupt and colludes together? Oh, when Fox News is filing a brief in support of CNN over the Jim Acosta issue. See, for those living under a rock, Jim Acosta was hogging the microphone and being disruptive, and he's done this before at a White House press briefing with Trump. And a White House staffer tried to grab the microphone. He sort of pushed her hand away. Now, Trump fans tried to say that was assault. It's not assault. He was slightly pushing her hand out of the way to keep her from grabbing the mic. That being said, the White House press pool is an at-will position. The press passes that are issued at will. Trump doesn't have to have any single reporter there. He could just prop up a camera in that room, live stream it on YouTube and on Twitch and shit, and let the reporters, contact remotely maybe or something. He doesn't have to have any journalists over there. There's nothing in the First Amendment that guarantees the right that people who work for three-letter name corporations get to go and disrupt the President of the United States and then call it free speech. It's not there. If you think that a White House press pass is part of the First Amendment, then every American is due one. In the most literal sense, the press is not a corporate entity. It's not, hey, I've got a master's degree in journalism. It's you're engaging in activities of the press. It's an activity. It's not a group. The press is not a body of people. It's all of the people insofar as they engage in a certain activity. It's sort of like the militia. The militia is not a group of guys that have plate carriers and AR-15s and roves around in the fucking Mojave, patrolling out there. That's not what the militia is. The militia is every able-bodied person capable of bearing arms. That's what it is. It's not a specific slice of the people unless you're saying, okay, well, the very elderly, lunatics, and children aren't included in that body. Everyone else is part of the militia. The unorganized militia. Later on, you get an organized militia that was largely naval in nature for the first 100 years, which, again, most people don't understand that side of military history. But the corporate media, the corporate press, which it is, it's very, very funny. See, I thought Fox and CNN were bitter competitors. They constantly talk about how evil and insane the other group is. Well, at least until the last couple of years. Now they fundamentally agree on Trump, that being, Hitler or Stalin or something. He's the Russian Hitler. Fox and CNN, they used to trade blows all the time. It's sort of like Fox and MSNBC or some of these other rivalries. You see, they're supposedly competitors and rivals. They're like, ha ha ha, our ratings soared, your ratings collapsed. Have you seen on some of these Fox panels over the last year, as CNN has been in steady decline, it's like number 5 for cable networks now, or even lower. It's lost literally millions of daily viewers. It lost 50% of its viewership or some insane amount over the course of a single year. Is some fucking crazy double-digit number? Like, if I lost that proportion of my subscribers, I'd be in a mental breakdown mode. They apparently think it's just fine because they fled over to Fox or MSNBC, some of the more partisan networks. Literally. So networks that don't just say Trump, orange man bad, they actually delve occasionally into actual political platforms, which something the Democrats especially have been reluctant to do. Fox and CNN have traded bitter jabs. Oh my God. CNN say, Fox is just a mouthpiece for the evil Trump regime. They excuse war. They're a bunch of Bible-thumping bigots. Look at their network, the way they dress their women and stuff. Fox will come out and say, oh, those fucking commies over there. They're just a mouthpiece for the DNC. Haha, Clinton email show. Literally campaign colluding with CNN and some of these groups. They're just a bunch of wackadoodle pinko liberals. They say this all the time, and then all of a sudden, after years of insulting one another and personally attacking one another and claiming that the other group of people is like Satan incarnate, all of a sudden Trump makes a mean tweet, ejects one reporter for being repeatedly disruptive. And all of a sudden, oh no, this is an attack on the First Amendment, it's an attack on the press, and it's an attack on all journalists. Oh my God, you ejected someone for being disruptive and preventing other journalists from asking their questions. Fuck the so-called assault of Jim Acosta and this staffer. That's not assault, and I don't care about it. He was disrupting other legacy media journos. These people make 6- and 7-figure salaries. They have the same at-will White House press pass. They have a right to ask their questions. Trump said, okay, sit back down. Next person, please. Oh, no, Mr. President, I'm going to sit here and badger you even after you've answered the question. This is my right as a journalistic, ethical individual, as part of the press. No, it's not. And for Fox to file a legal brief in favor of CNN, what legal standing do you have to claim in a million years that it violates the rights of the free press if a disruptive reporter who has been repeatedly disruptive and politically partisan is ejected when that firm, CNN, has 2 other journalists already in the press pool and is more than welcome to get anybody else from CNN to fill Acosta's slot. Trump didn't say, oh, well, I'm booting CNN out. I'm giving you the cold shoulder. And he could. He could boot out CNN altogether, say, no, I'm not going to let you ask me questions at all. I'm not going to let CNN come to my rallies. I'm not going to let it come to the press meetings. I'm not going to let it talk to I'm going to tell my staff not to answer your questions and ignore you if you confront them on the street. I'm going to shut CNN out entirely. He could do that if he was unwise enough to think it was a good political strategy. He hasn't done that, though. He forced out one disruptive individual. If a person is asking questions, doing nothing wrong, whatever, that's a right of free speech. And in their case, free press. It's being disseminated further than just in the interpersonal context. It is not a right of the free press or of free speech, nor does it have anything whatsoever to do with the Fifth Amendment that they're invoking. That has nothing to do with the whole situation in any way, shape, or form. None of those things apply to you having some sort of right to disrupt others' free speech. That's what he's doing. He's disrupting other people, including several CNN journos. And he's making a fool of himself. He's not making CNN look good. You've got other journos that pointed this out. Hey, this isn't a good look for you. You need to calm down and stop being disruptive. You're not bothering Trump. You badger him for 10 seconds. It's 10 seconds out of his fucking day. He can walk off the podium at any time and say, bye, meeting over because I keep being disrupted. He doesn't give a fuck. But the other journos there can't get their questions answered because they make Trump irate, so he leaves sooner, and he gets distracted and goes off the rails and has to say you're a nasty person, fake news, and all that stuff. But Jim Acosta is. He's a propagandist. He's not even a journalist. All he does is spin and have bias anyway. It's his right to do that. It's the right of CNN to present fake news as though it was real. The Supreme Court has already weighed in that news doesn't have to be, actually objectively true. It's not even defamation for some reason if it's about public officials in the general sense. So you have the right to do that, and Trump has the right to have you ejected from the press pool. And Fox News getting involved. Eject one of Fox News' reporters too, just for good measure. They're fake news too. I mean, one of the fakest. They have been since certainly the Iraq War era. Remember when Bill O'Reilly said, well, it's their patriotic duty as Americans. You know, back when he was on Fox, before they kicked him off for being an old pervert, allegedly. Gave him his golden parachute severance package of 8 figures or more. Back in those good old days when Bill O'Reilly was on there, it's your patriotic duty to support the president in his invasion, then shut up once it begins. Just shut the fuck up, good patriots. Don't ask too many questions, because our president's got an R after his name and claims to be a cowboy, and I kind of like the dude. Invite me to his wedding or some crazy shit. And then, of course, he's doing, crazy shit. Allegedly, again, with some of the female interns and reporters there, including probably Megyn Kelly. Probably made passes at her. Back then, it wouldn't be a reason not to. I don't think she was married at the time. And apparently, he was never, into getting married women to do things with him. Again, allegedly. But they settled these cases. So you get 5 different allegations, 5 different settlements. Doesn't take a genius to figure out what happened. Fox apparently took it seriously enough to pay out millions of dollars. Just fucking support the president. Well, where's Bill O'Reilly now to say that about Trump on his shitty podcast? By the way, if you look at his channel, it's like there's the alt media dwarfs this dude. He used to be literally #1 on cable, and yet in several years of putting things on his podcast and on YouTube, how many views does he get per video? It's lower than what I get. And that's after, in the last few months, he's actually ballooned significantly in support. So it's hilarious. He's actually managed to gain 30,000 subs over the course of the last month. Congratulations, by the way. It'll take you a couple years, but you'll probably end up with millions of fans on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube doesn't have any problem with neocons like O'Reilly, by the way. That's about all. Peace out.